Moses was a man of great knowledge. You know, when you read the Bible and you read like the laws and decrees that Moses gave the Israelite people, you can see that there is a lot of wisdom there. You know, you got the Ten Commandments, which, according to y'all, sounds suspiciously similar to what you find in the laws of God. You have the teachings about cleanliness, which we know that the mummification system and all of that stuff, that the Egyptians was really big on that kind of thing. We know about the stories, some of the stories that Moses wrote about that y'all say sounds quite similar to stuff from ancient Egyptian culture. Like, for example, Cain and Abel. Y'all say that sounds suspiciously like Osiris and Set. So Moses, it seems like to y'all, Moses took that story and kind of, I guess, put a twist on it or changed it up or whatever. Y'all also say that basically y'all say that Moses, all the stuff that he got is not original, right? All the stuff he wrote isn't original, right? He got it. He grew up in Pharaoh's home. He was well educated, and that's where he got all his knowledge from. So when you read in the Old Testament about slavery, why doesn't it occur to you that what he wrote about slavery is something that he got from Egypt? I mean, y'all think he took everything else from Egypt? Doesn't it logically follow that what Moses taught about slavery is because of what he learned in Egypt, living in Pharaoh's household, who had slaves? And before you can say, oh, well, Egypt didn't have slaves, every ruler had slaves. Every ruler had slaves. Them pyramids didn't build themselves. You know, and you darn sure can best believe the royal family wasn't out there building them. Forced labor. But anyway, now, I bet you no one will own up. No one will say, yeah, Moses probably learned about slavery from his time in Egypt. Anything that may be good, anything that gives props to the Egyptian culture, y'all probably say, yeah, he stole it. Anything that's bad, like slavery, or even religion, it's like, even religion, who knows? Anything that has a negative showing towards, or that shows a negative view of things that happened in Egypt, y'all will probably reject and say, you know, he didn't steal those things. But, you know, I just ask you to be consistent. If you're going to sit there and say that Moses, he learned all of these things in Egypt, and that's where he got all his teachings from, then you have to include slavery in there. There's no non-biased way. There's no non-biased way for you not to include slavery. Basically, you wouldn't want to do that because you don't like slavery and you like blaming the white man. Now, with that being said, when you read the Bible, when you talk about how the Bible justifies slavery, the slavery that happened to black people in America, when you say that this book was written to control people, you have to understand that Moses, the writer of the first 5 books of the Bible, he gained all his knowledge from his time growing up in Pharaoh's household. But not even just his time. He's like 40 years old when he left, right? So he spent a lot of time studying beyond his school years, just the Egyptian way of life. And when he left there, one of the things he wrote about in regards to that way of life was the slavery that he saw. Not only does he explicitly say he talked about the slaves, that the Hebrew slaves, but even if you take out that story, even if you reject the whole story about Moses coming to free the slaves, he still, even without that, when he laid down the laws about cleanliness and worship and government and that sort of stuff, when he laid down the laws of those things, he included slavery in there. Why? Where did he learn about this concept? Did he learn about it from the shepherds along the Midianites when he fled Egypt? Did he learn about it from them, some people that just had sheep and stuff? Or did he learn about it when he lived within a powerful hierarchy, when he lived within the mightiest nation of the time? Did he learn from it there? I don't even know what else to say to that. But when you blame the white man and when you blame the white man for slavery, you're aiming your anger at the wrong place. You ought to be aiming your anger at the Egyptians, because if it wasn't for the Egyptians having slavery in their society, Moses wouldn't have taken it. Moses wouldn't have put it in the Bible. So my challenge to y'all is to be consistent. If you're going to say that Moses stole all of this stuff from Egyptian culture, then include slavery in there. And when you read the Old Testament and you talk about how the Old Testament promotes slavery, understand the root where it came from. It came from a man who copied the stuff that he learned in Egypt and put it into his own Bible, his own book.